Hi everybody, welcome back to our American Corner podcast. Today I will host a special guest. She's a teacher of English. She's here today to talk and discuss about her experiences in general and about herself. Welcome, Ikram.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
You're welcome. How are you really doing?
I'm doing good. I feel like bringing me here gave me a reason to get out of bed this morning. So thank you for that.
So first of all, I appreciate you to come over here and to be with me. I'm so excited to discuss with you. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too, Amina. Thank you.
Welcome. This is me and Ikram. What I want to start with, it's about yourself.
Okay.
I want you to describe yourself, introduce yourself as you want.
Okay, so as freely as I want.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you say, how would you describe yourself? I would probably use 3 adjectives. I would say that I'm expressive, entertaining, and extreme.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me to introduce myself, I would say, hi, I'm Ikram. I'm 25. I study translation in Belgrade. It's actually my final year, so I'm working on my thesis at the moment. I teach English. That's the main point that we need to talk about. I teach English in MEKTOUB, and I was very active in the social volunteering area, like clubs, association, American Corner as well. Hobbies-wise, I'm interested in a bunch of things, and I do a bunch of stuff because why not? It's good to explore new things, I guess. And I like to share those things on Instagram. So basically, yeah, that's it.
Good. I know you went a lot of experiences. I want you to tell me more about these experiences and what you learned from them, Yani.
I grew up in Arzu, which is a side city here in Oran. And spending time there in middle school and high school, it means that you don't get a lot of opportunities because there isn't much to do anyway. So my experiences really started when I started uni at 18, because in Oran, thank God, we live in a good city that provides a lot of opportunities for youth. Okay, so if you're interested in artistic careers, you can find that. If you're interested in volunteering, you find that. Yes, like it provides a whole variety of things. So when I got to uni, and the ACO was the first place that I started volunteering in, and it basically opened up other doors because at the ACO I started as a member, and then I was a volunteer in what I would call the old era.
Which is your beginning.
It was my beginning, yes. And then I became head of education department. Aside from that, I worked with Masterminds, which are a very well-known club here as well. With them, I did the human resources department, and I was basically the animator there. And there is ADCO as well, even though like I didn't work with them a lot, but it was a good experience overall.
Good.
Thank you.
I like it.
Okay, thank you.
You said a while ago that you had an experience in the American Corner.
Yes.
How did you know, or who tells you about the ACU?
Like, how did I know of its existence?
Yeah.
Okay, so funny story. When I was studying in MEKTOUB, actually, there was people who distribute like... how do I call them? Boards about Khutwa event.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, Khutwa event is basically this event that they hold in Oran every year. And all the associations and clubs are there. You find them connected in that one place.
Okay.
So I told my friend, like, let's go. What's the worst that can happen? Yes, let's just jump into it. Yeah. It was in 2018. I went there, and the thing back in that time, like all associations and clubs, they were in English. In French. So it was very, very rare to find clubs that provide the activities in English. So when I saw the American Corner Oran, I understood it was English, and I was like, oh, sounds interesting.
I had to.
Yes, this is the place. And then I saw Miss Kazi, and usually when you look at Miss Kazi at first glance, you get the impression that she's American. So I was like, oh, even more interesting. Of course, she's not. So it's there where I find them, and I was like, I gotta sign up for this, and I did eventually.
Nice. I like it.
It's a funny story.
Yeah, I see. How did this experience helped you to improve or let's say develop your English?
English-wise, like not as a person, but on English terms.
In general, yeah.
In general?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, like if we're talking about English, the American Corner, I think what it provides in comparison to other, let's say, languages school is the interaction. Because when you're trying to learn a language, the most important part is the interaction and the conversation part.
It's the best place to...
And it's the best place. It's the best place because you get to talk to people, not only through conversation, let's say classes, but also while learning the culture itself and while doing different activities. It could be artistic, it could be technical, and they provide that in a specific language. So it gives you an advantage. Whereas if we're talking about as a person, it helps you really in terms of soft skills. So public speaking, managing your time.
Everything.
Yes.
Almost everything.
Almost everything that you need as a college student later on to face life.
Yeah, it's a good place.
It is an amazing place.
Also, the staff here, they are amazing.
You get to meet a lot of great people. Like a lot of my close friends or my network are mostly started from the ACO and then expanded.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same for you too, as you are like a new intern here at the ACO. You can see that too.
Ikram, why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? That's a targeting question. Okay. I'm gonna talk about two levels here because there is a side that's personal. That's why I do what I do. And then there is the part that's general.
Tell me
the
both.
personal. You want to know the personal one and the general part that applies to all of us. Okay, for the personal side, okay, this is a bit tricky. I don't know if I want to share this, but let's go.
Share.
It's on parenting level. Like my eternal goal is to be a role model for my kids. If I'm not going to be someone they are able to admire and look up to and respect, do I even want to have them in the first place? So that's for me, that's a motive that makes me always want to work on myself as a person. But then there is also the general like perspective on how you see it. We all have an end goal. So when I was in middle school, high school, it was always like, I gotta be the best version of myself. That's what I want to do.
You encourage yourself.
Yes, all the time. I gotta be the best in this and that and this. I gotta do this and that. And then I entered the volunteering, pursuing that goal specifically. But then I became more comfortable with myself and around people. I explored my options, my potential, and it stopped being about being the best version of myself, and it turned into being, I want to be the most genuine about myself. I want to do things because I truly want to do them, not because somebody's pushing me or because I'm pressed. So it became that. And then it changed into having a vision in the future. For instance, now I'm genuine as I can be, I would say. So it became about a vision in future. There is a situation that I always imagine in my head, and that's kind of the goal. I can't tell you, but like the day I see myself in that situation will be the end for me, inshallah.
Maybe
Thank
one
you
day.
So much. Inshallah. I'll tell you about that.
Inshallah. I know that you love read.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I want to know your favorite book and the one who changed your life.
Okay, so when it comes to reading, you can't really ask readers what's your favorite book because it's going to be a bunch of things. And since there is a lot of categories, I can go back and forth. But I would say like there are writers that I like the way they write. For instance, one of the books that I really love is Storms by Khalil Gibran. It's a great book. Majdoulin for Mustafa Lutfi Manflouti. It's also a very good book that teaches you about life, and it tackles all the levels of life, layers. It's a very good book. If we're speaking English-wise, I would say Heart of Darkness. It's very, very well written. And there is, if we're talking self-development, because a lot of people love that, the book that helped me the most was Eat That Frog. It speaks about proficiency and how you can work and explore your working mechanism to discover what works for you and you can apply it in your life. A book that changed my life is written actually by a Japanese, I think she's a Japanese writer, Marie Kondo. It's called The Art of Tidying Up or whatever. And she talks about how you need to get rid of stuff in your life. Whether hypothetically or actual materialistic stuff. So after I finished reading that book, I was like, Mom, I gotta throw a lot of stuff in here. So I started on a rumble. It changed my life because after I finished reading it, I went and applied it on my life, let's say.
How did reading change your mentality on it?
Okay, how did it change my mentality? I feel like for starter, when I started reading books, it was for casual reasons. It was for fun. It was about girls when they like reading fantasy or romance books and whatever. And it was good. It was for fun. But the thing about books, yes, the more you read, the more you're hungry to try different things. So it's like a journey. It started with reading for fun and reading about stories. But then right now, my taste is completely different from where I started. It's more of wanting to grow as a person. It's more about wanting to know about the world. So if the book doesn't provide knowledge about human psychology or how does the word work, I wouldn't really be interested in reading it. So I feel like you can easily tell how you change as a person through your book choices.
That's right.
True.
For me, I wasn't a fan of reading.
Okay.
But when I start reading,
okay,
I discovered that it gives you the ability to create our identity, to highlight our understanding. You know that you're reading, and you know that everyone has social media now in this
digital era.
Yeah.
Yes. It's an identity too.
Can you tell me your content in Instagram?
Okay, well, what I do on Instagram, also a tricky question. A lot of my friends would like to call me a content creator on Instagram, even though I don't actually see myself as that at all.
Maybe you are.
Not really, because content creation is when you focus and pick one thing and then like you explore it and there is a message behind it. For me, I just post because I love sharing. Sometimes it's teaching English, sometimes it's book reviews, sometimes it's movie reviews, sometimes it's just me hanging with my friends. Sometimes if I want to deliver a message. When I was active in social volunteering, I used to promote that a lot. When I was in the American Corner, I used to promote that a lot. So it depends on what I'm doing in life, and then I try to reflect it on my social media, let's say. You're not following me though. You should follow me on Instagram.
I will follow you, don't worry.
Okay.
You should follow me too.
Yes, right back.
Okay. If you had a blank whiteboard,
okay,
and I ask you to draw your mood at the moment, what would you draw?
Like right now?
Right now.
Okay. The first thought that came to my mind is I would probably draw like sorry,
it's
one
okay,
of those small houses that they do, and then the crying emoji next to it, because right now I'm at the ACO with the ACO people and it feels like a home. Like, and we're discussing basically the journey that I had here. So that would be what I would draw. Did
your family believes in you? It's mean how they encourage you or let's say support you to do this?
Okay, my parents, when I started volunteering, because when I studied in Lusto before, and it was basically just me going from home to university to home, university. And then when I switched it was a boring life to live, honestly.
I know.
But then when I switched into translation, it was because I really did something that I wanted to do. I started exploring other options. So it wasn't going from house to university anymore, because I would go to the ATO and then I would go to masterminds and then this event and that event. So I wouldn't really say my parents were very supportive in the sense that I would like to be supported, but my parents are accepting and
let you do what you want.
Exactly. They give you the freedom of choice. At the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. It's your choice. You just have to take the consequences of your actions. So they don't force me into stuff or out of them.
Because our family, they don't support their kids. Children.
Yes. I've seen scenarios like that. Specifically in Algeria, I would say it's with the dads. Girls are like, I can't do this because my dad won't be very open to the idea. And I understand it because my dad is conservative. But like, I feel like the most important part is how you present yourself. You need to show them what are the things that you want to do, and you are a responsible person, and this is the options that I want to explore. And I feel like parents are like, they're not as bad as we make them sound. Like, at the end of the day, if they see that you're working towards something and they see that it makes you happy and you're being responsible, as you said, and satisfied, they would be more open to accepting things that they wouldn't normally accept, because usually it's just out of fear. They're afraid that you might face this or that. So it's how you manage it, basically.
We mentioned afraid.
What
are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of? I would say not being able to see my potentials true. If I think that I can do few things here and there, I'm afraid of not trying, not giving them a shot, because it's okay to fail, to try
It's
things.
okay, yeah,
It's completely fine. I don't know why there is like this hustle that if I don't reach that goal, if I don't make my childhood dream comes true, if I don't have this ambition fulfilled or achieved, it's not really a bad thing, because as long as you're trying, you're gonna get to a better place than not trying in the first place. Okay, this mic is dying on my hand.
It's okay.
Okay, so basically that's it. I'm afraid of not seeing my potentials true and not trying.
Do you think that you waste your time before you do these experiences, or
like when I was volunteering, did I see it as a waste of time?
No, before that, before
before I entered the volunteering. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because before I entered volunteering, I was pretty much, as I said, uni, house uni. Even though I would do my other hobbies, whether it's individual hobbies, let's call them, reading, drawing, watching different mediums, but when doing volunteering, you feel like you're adding value to your life and to other people's life. So it doesn't really, even if you're not getting paid, it doesn't feel like a waste of time, because you're growing as a person and you're growing a network that's gonna get you places.
You know yourself more, maybe.
Yes. You become very self-conscious.
Last but not least, I want to know your future goals, your vision about your, what I mean?
plans for the future. Okay, so let's talk about the short future, because it's the one coming up. I'm very interested in education, I would say. I'm a big advocate for education, and a lot of people know that about me. So one of my close plans is to start a platform about that. It's something that I've been working on for the past 6 months, and it's gonna have teaching English courses, of course. So there is that side, and because I study translation, there is also a project I have in mind, which is translation related. I've been working on that as well. And let's just finger crossed. I hope it works out for me eventually.
Inshallah, it will work.
Thank you.
Finally, I want you to give advice to people who hesitate and to follow their dreams, to do more experiences, to do what they want.
Okay, so for people who are hesitant, because I feel like at the beginning we are all like that. Even I was very hesitant, but once you crack out of that bubble,
that's fine.
Limitless. That's where the fun begins. So first of all is to jump in. I don't know if I can actually say this, but in Derja we say zdam. This is my favorite word in Derja because it's so accurate.
Just go.
So the more you jump into things, the more it's going to work out for you eventually. And the second thing is to be self-conscious and to be self-reflecting, because the more you do things, you need to question, why are you doing them? How is this affecting you? Does it work for me this way or that way? So experience things by yourself, reflect on yourself, and it will help you process things better. So.
Well, Ikram, thank you for being here with me. It was a pleasure to meet you here. Super nice to meet you.
Thank you.
And if you want to drop your Instagram or something like that.
Okay, promote myself. Okay, final words. Thank you so much for having me. Even though I don't see me being here is a necessity, but it was so sweet of your team to consider me.
Thank you
it
so
really
much.
Really feels like home. And it was a nice chat. It was very nice to meet you, Amina. This is a friendship on the road. I can feel that.
Yeah.
And my socials, Ikram MEKTOUB. You'll find me everywhere. Thank you so much for having me.